2 steps in and he bloody bit my leg.
He has to have his morning poo. Fortunately, it was the client's new installed toilet.
Is he going to actually try and bloody shoot him? You know.
I've been running around this bloody field for the last hour trying to chase this dog. Expanding foam in the flue, super glue in the door lock.
What are you doing that for? Why are you doing that? Are you sure you know what you're doing?
There's cats on top of the cooker. There's cats on the shelves in the kitchen. There's a cupboard with no doors on. The cats are in there. Oh, all right, boys, how's it going? Oh, yeah, oh, Nick of the day, oh, and one of them, innit?
Man's got 2 things. He's got a and he's got a brain. But unfortunately, when the Lord made him, he didn't give enough blood to go around both at the same time.
Welcome to the first episode of this podcast, Builders Banter. I'm the host, Stuart, and to the left of me, we've got Alan, who's been in the building game probably for over 40 years, probably over 50 years,
50 years.
But we won't touch on that. I've got Gaz, who's been to see a boiler installation this morning, so I'm very appreciative he's taking some time out with us to go over what we're going to be doing. Obviously, I'm very pleased to be sponsored by, as we can see, SM Home Improvements and Maintenance, which is me. Check us out on Facebook, check us out on the website. We're currently based in Herefordshire, and we do work in the surrounding counties. We cover everything from bathroom to kitchen installations. We're also doing boiler installation, servicing, any other plumbing or gas works. Give us a shout out. This is the first podcast, hopefully of many. Depending on how this goes, could be the last, but we'll see. Challenge a bit later on in the show called The Fastest Driver of the West, yeehaw! Which we're going to bring out, and hopefully we will run over the next few podcasts. We're also going to be doing a bit about some rogue traders, not rogue traders, there's enough of that going around, rogue customers, dodgy dealings with customers, sort of the other side of the business. Everybody knows about rogue traders. Everybody publicises about that, but we don't tend to hear much about the dodgy customers or the experience and the stress it actually puts under us as traders and business owners. The pressures financially and obviously mentally, really. So we're going to have a bit about that, and Alan's going to drop in a few stories of his experience during his 50 years of a luxurious building. And basically we'll just chip in as we go along. But to start with, we've got a clip coming up from Jeffro, which is designated? No? Yeah. Delegated? Designated? Yeah. Edit that out. For all the bricklayers in the business. Good luck. Hope you enjoy it.
Hey, you! What do you want? Who built this bloody wall? I did. What's the matter with it?
Well, it's the worst bloody wall I've ever seen in my life. You built it.
I built it straight with that tree.
Well, I can tell you one thing, you're bloody off the site, you're sacked. This is bloody terrible. I've never seen it. I've been in the building trade for 40 years. This is the worst wall I've ever bloody seen.
There's worse walls than that on this site. You don't realise what shit you're employing. This is good. I can show you a worse wall than that.
Well, if you can show me a worse wall than this, you've got your job back, but I've never seen such a bloody wall like it.
You come with me then, short ass.
Oh, yeah, my bloody job's at stake here for bloody people like you. What are you doing?
A worse bloody wall than that.
You show me a worse wall than that?
Yeah, that's bloody good. Well, I can show you. You come here, look at that. Look at that back there, look. Look at that, look. You come here, look at that. Look at that there, look. Over there, look, over that, hey?
Well, that's bloody terrible.
That's better than that. That's better than that.
Well, you're right.
That there, that's better than that. That's a bloody lash up.
Well, you're quite right. Well, I'm a man of my word. You got your job back.
Yeah, I saw you.
That's bloody terrible, that is. I've never seen a bloody back.
Look at that. Look.
Well, who built this bloody wall?
I did.
So I hope everybody enjoyed a bit of Jeffro. Unfortunately, Jeffro passed away not long ago, which is obviously very sorry to hear. He will be deeply missed, as we've attended many of his shows and concerts over the years. Yeah. So we'll keep trying to put a bit of Jeffro in here and there, and hopefully cheer everybody's day up. So I suppose really first port of call is.
Thing is, I suppose if I tell a funny story first, you can always cut it out and stick it somewhere else. If it's not, if you don't find it's you know. But I'll be gentle for the first story. All right.
First one. So what are we going to go into? We're going.
This is called the flying dog.
The flying dog.
Yeah.
Dog.
Dog. Yeah.
Dog. All right,
The flying dog.
Flying dog.
I have to put these little quips so that I can remember what they are, because
Okay.
there's too much in there. But anyway, thing is, we went to build an extension on this person's house. An old cottage it was. I won't say where it was, and then there's, just in case. But thing is, he got a little terrier that he used to come in. Was always out in the garden, and you couldn't. You went to go through the gates, and it'd be right at yakking its bloody head up. I thought, we don't want to, Anyway, the client came out and he says, "Oh, it's all right. He won't hurt you. He won't hurt you." And he called him back in and put him in the house. So anyway, we went in to start the work. But the second day I went there, and we met the postie outside, and he said, "Are you going in?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, can you take these for me?" I never give it a thought. I said, "Yeah." So I took the letters in, and anyway, it transpires that I went out the gate and come back in, and the dog was out. So he was yak, and I thought, oh, he said he wouldn't. 2 steps in, and he bloody bit my leg. So needless to say, he's only a small dog. He's only like about this big. So the front door was probably from here, not quite as well. Yeah, it'd be about as where that door is down there. So I lifted him right up, and he went as far as that under my boot. And this is timing. This is. The minute I done that, the customer came straight out the door. "Don't you bloody kick my dog!" And he was having a good old go at me. And I said, "You told me that bloody dog don't bite." But anyway, that's as far as I got to that. We packed our bags and went. Find somebody else. He wouldn't have it. And then we realised then that the postie wouldn't take the mail in. He wouldn't go in there because they got a reputation for this bloody dog. But I mean, that's my only gentle flying. The other stuff is going to
Gentle
flying. So that dog went from here to there. Quite a distance.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had Gary come and help me out. He was doing some plastering, and they had a dog. They had 2 dogs. One wouldn't bloody shut up, and the other wouldn't say boot or goose. And of course, it was always the little dog that saw the mouth.
Yeah.
And he said to the customer, he said, "Oh, what should I do about the dogs?" And he said, "Oh, just bring them in when you're finished. They'll come in, just give them a shout." Well, he finished the job, and of course, by the end of it, he rang me up there and said, "I've been running around this bloody field for the last hour trying to chase this dog. I can't get the dog in. What do I do?" And I said, "Well, what did the customer say?" And they said, "Well, if you can't get him in, don't worry." I said, "Well, leave it then." I said, "It won't hurt. Come back in by yourself." Anyway, he did. He left it, and apparently the dog did come in. But yeah, it was just one of them.
Yeah.
Didn't know what to do. Chasing the dog around the field. I thought, bloody hell, if the neighbours had seen him, they'd wonder what on earth's going on like. But so there you go.
I feel like I've got to do a dog story.
You've got to do a dog story.
Yeah,
Go on, dog story. Have you got one?
All right, yeah. So I was installing a boiler in a house once up in Wales. The customers told me, be very careful of this dog. It is a runner, so if you leave the door open, it will
not as the
start
runs.
through. No, I did. But so he said, so be very, very careful. Make sure doors are closed after you, make sure gates, because the dog will run. And it's done it before, and it took us like 2 days to find this dog. So I had this in the back of my head. I'm fitting the boiler. Every time I had to go out to the van, closing doors behind me, closing gates behind me. Customer wasn't at home, they'd been at work, so I was doing this job. And every now and then I'd go have a look to make sure that the dog was still floating around. So I carried on doing the job. Had a little wander around thinking it's been about half hour since I've checked on this dog, so I'm going to go try finding it. So I walked around the house. It's not in the kitchen, went in the lounge, not in the lounge. I went in every bedroom, and I'm thinking, where's this dog gone? Where's it gone? So I went into full panic mode. I was running around the house. I was running around the garden, front garden, back garden. I could not find this dog. I went out the front gate, run up and down the street trying to find this dog. Could not find this dog anywhere. I spent like a good hour and a half running around trying to find this dog. Got into a right panic thinking, I've lost this dog. I'm going to have to phone the customer and tell them what's happened. So I pulled up my phone. As I pulled up my phone, the customer come walking around the corner with the dog. So the customer came home early from work, saw that I was working, rather than tipping his head in and go, I'm going to take the dog out for a walk. Just took the dog, went off for a walk for an hour and a half, and left me thinking that I'd lost his dog. So yeah, I spent that long trying to look for the dog. I ended up going back the next day to finish the job off because I spent too long looking for the dog to get it all done in a day.
Which of course you don't get paid for.
No, you don't. No.
Saying that,
I was just happy I didn't lose it.
I got cat one. I had went and looked at a job for a company to do a kitchen refurb, and they were massively into cats. Like it was like the cat lady off The Simpsons, basically. It was proper cats everywhere. And I've walked in, and there's a litter box in the corner of the room. I'm no joking you. It was probably the size of a shower tray. It was massive, and it was full of shit basically. So that stunk to start with, and then they're going, oh yeah, talking me for a job, and I'm doing the usual. Oh yes, Mrs. Jones, not Mrs. Jones by the way. Oh yes, Mrs. Jones. You know it's blah 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 blah. Anyway, start looking around as you start sort of paying attention, and then I start to notice that there's bloody cats everywhere. There's cats on top of the cooker. There's cats on the shelves in the kitchen. There's a cupboard with no doors on. The cats are in there. I mean, what the bloody hell's going on in here? Like, and then all of a sudden, I'm saying, well, okay, where can we cut the worktops and do that? And if we do the job, she said, oh, just out through the garden. And I said, oh, right, okay. I said, but isn't that lean to like a cattery type of thing? Oh yeah. All the cats will live in there. I said, right, okay. She says, but don't letting them out. They're all house cats. Don't let them out. They won't come back in, And I went, well, how am I supposed to get out without letting them out? Do you know what I mean? It was like out, but not out. So I was like, I carried on going anyway. And then they said, oh yeah, jump down on the floor and you can look under, and the stop tap's under there. And I looked at the floor and I thought, there's no chance I'm getting down on that. It's covered in crap, it's hair, it's feces, it stinks. And then longer on there, I'm going, I don't want this job. It's not for me. And then all of a sudden you hear this, and I'm like, what the bloody hell? I turn around, there's a cat being sick right by my foot, and the bloke's gone, oh, don't worry about that. Grabbed it by the scruff of its neck as it's still going, and it's just gone straight out the door with it. I was just oh God, I don't really want to be here. So I sort of made me excuse anyway. Yes, Mr. Jones, I'll thank you for your time. We won't come back.
You didn't do the I'll price it really, really high to not get it and then win it anyway.
No, I didn't even go to that.
No,
there was no chance, mate. They couldn't have paid me enough money in the world to go back to that job. And I didn't even fancy trying to pass it on to one of the other lads. And I just didn't have the art. But that's my crappy cat story. But yeah. So what we could do is. If we've got, obviously we're all dealing with rogue customers and dodgy customers. Sort of really don't have to name and shame anybody. We're not here to do that. But obviously we can share our experiences that we've had. Obviously me and Alan's worked together for many years in the past. Some of our dodgy customers have ended up being the same one. Got anything that they want to jump in with?
I've had the standard fitting a boiler in an airing cupboard, and I had a customer with his deck chair planted right next door.
Oh, the watcher.
Yeah, the watcher, the one over the shoulder. Yeah, he had his...
I know you're doing that wrong, boy. I know what you're doing.
Exactly, yeah. he had his tray out, he had an extension cable from a bedroom, so he had his kettle set up, he had his coffee and tea and everything set up, and he sat there the entire job, did not leave at all, and everything we did, he was, what are you doing that for? Why are you doing that? Are you sure you know what you're doing?
That's going into stalker mode, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's close to stalkerish.
It was bad. Yeah, it was bad. We kept trying to get him to go downstairs and leave us alone, but he wasn't having any of it. So yeah, I think everyone's had a story quite similar to that at some point.
What I don't like is when you go in for a job and you're gagging for a cup of tea, and you don't want to ask. You never want to ask because you want to be impolite. Yeah. And then they never ask. They never come and tell you, but they'll come and stand and talk to you while they've just made a cup of tea.
Oh yeah.
And they'll go, "Oh, all right, boys, how's it going? Oh yeah, oh, Nick, good day. Oh, and one of them, innit? Yeah. And you're like, oh, I'd love a cup of tea. Why don't you offer me one? And it never gets to that. That fries my brain. That does. Nothing worse. You know, you can always say no to a cup of tea. Yeah. You know, not that you would, because obviously if you say no, you might not be asked again. But it's nothing worse. You know, we've had many a day where we've been together and you're absolutely sweltering and just gasping for a drink.
Well, I went on a job with my mate, and it was really hot weather. It must have been 2 or 3 weeks of really hot weather. This is obviously a few years ago, and I'm not certainly going to mention who it was, but we was there, and we had to work up in the loft of this building. We was raising the roof and trying to straighten the roof up, and was gasping for a bloody drink. And the customer was there all the time, you know, not watching us like your customers were, but there all the time, coming up and having a quick look and disappearing. And we worked there for 3 weeks, and we never had a cup of tea once. And we come out of that loft, we was dripping when we come out. It was that hot, you know, and it was just terrible. You can't, you know, just like you, in a sense, you know, on your job, you go to places, and you don't expect people to give you drinks and that, you know, but it's just polite to say, would you like a cup of tea or coffee? And before you, you know, or something, you know. Yeah. And
sure, it's a case of if you look after the person working in your house.
But we never had a drink all the time we was there. Yeah. We was never offered one. And you don't like to sort of go into their kitchen and start helping yourself. It looks bad.
No, it's bad.
That's bad. So you don't do that. No. You know. And of course, you could argue, well, I suppose some people would say, oh, well, if you take your own tea making facilities or whatever, then, you know. But I mean, that's not the point. The point is, it's just polite to be offered, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, and it's always nice, and I think many tradesmen will be of the same opinion. Really, even if they don't want it, it's, you know, it should be the golden rule. Really, for any client that comes into a tradesman comes into their house, it should be hello, Mr. James, how are you? Hello, Bob. Can I have a cup of tea? You want a cup of tea? Oh, thank you very much. You know, it's just politeness. Well,
it just breaks the ice a little bit between the, you know, because you've got to have a good relationship between the customer and yourself. Otherwise, you know. But if you think they're miserable buggers, if you don't get a cup of tea, you know, it ain't quite the same.
Well, the thing is, if you keep the tradesman happy, he's going to do the work for you, isn't he? Yeah. You know, if he's at the end of the day. But I remember we've been on one job before now, and we were in the same position where we were gasping for a cup of tea, and the lady politely said, "Oh, I'll do your cup, you know, make your cup of tea." And we were both like, "Oh, thank God for that." We were like that. And it was bloody that horrible flipping flavoured like ginger tea, wasn't it? Something like that. And we were both sort of sat there. We were so grateful for this cup of tea. You know, it was like gold, and you know, it was at the position where anything would have done. Yeah. And we both went. Oh, thank you. That was a lovely cup of tea. I'm so happy you liked it.
It was. Mine did go in the.
You know, and it did. Yeah, mine did as well. They went in the plant pot. You know, so, it was all right. It was all right, to be fair. Stuff like that.
Would you say it's worse than not being allowed to use the toilet? I mean, this conversation could go a bit south here.
The old toilet time,
Do you mind if I use your toilet? Yeah, I do mind. All right.
That's a funny one. That's a 50-50, I find. Yeah. People are either absolutely no problem and totally understand. And others
Yeah.
oh, no, it's God forbid you're not allowed in my toilet.
Yeah.
What they think you're going to do in there, I don't know.
Well,
You know.
do you explain to them?
Well, no,
It's not a number two, honestly. I'm not stinking your house out.
you know. Well, we've had that before now with tradies that have come on site and done stuff like that.
Oh, yes. Well, you had one just recently, didn't you, Slip? With that.
Yeah.
They left a message behind. Well, I'll let him tell you the story.
He fitted. He just finished. This isn't good for the brand. He just fitted. He just finished fitting a new bathroom suite for a client.
Tested it.
And yes, that's exactly what he was doing. He was making sure that the facilities worked correctly and were up to standard. The toilet in particular, and I won't name him. I might have him on in a future podcast. I won't name him yet. He can't help it, and he has to have his morning poo, as we would say. And unfortunately, it was in the client's new installed toilet. And he decided to leave him a few discrepancies up the side, should we say, which I wasn't aware about until the customer actually rang and complained. And what can you say to that? How can you defend that, really? Well, I did say it wasn't me, which I wasn't lying. So hence we did have to have a little chat about that to please don't use the toilet facilities. And if you do, obviously make sure you clean up after yourself. It was a little bit embarrassing for us, but hopefully the customer was all right after I apologised to him about it. But yeah, it's one of them. You've got to go, I suppose. But
Jealous that they didn't get to use it first.
that's probably what it was. I wouldn't advise people to do that, by the way. Don't use people's toilets or showers that you've just installed for clients. It doesn't look very professional, to say the least. But saying that, talking of toilet humour, we had can you remember when we was on, I won't name the job, when we had, I can name her, I suppose, where Tina was working with us.
Oh, up north.
No, in Ludlow. And Andy had, she was working outside the toilet doing some painting.
Oh, yes.
And he went in, they used the toilet. And it stunk, to put it lightly. And she went
ballistic.
Oh, she went off the
That's my
scale.
daughter, that is. It used to work with us as well.
Off the scale to another chart.
Yes.
And she went crazy, didn't she?
Oh,
she went
she dressed
proper,
him up hill and down.
She proper went mental.
And,
of course, then, because she came over to me to complain, to sort of make an official complaint. And it was like, Stuart, I'm not happy, blah, 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 blah. What's happening? And she said, Andy's just taking a crap. I've gone, right, yeah. And it absolutely stinks. Why you should do it? Well, just outside where I'm working. Well, of course, I'm trying to be sort of diplomatic and not laugh at the same time, because to me, I just want to laugh. Yeah. And I'm just going, yeah, I'm ever so sorry. I'll have a word with him, I do apologise, And, I'm not happy. And off she stomps, And of course, I did go and have a word with Andy about it. And we just sort of brushed it off, really, to be fair. It was just one of them. It was the site toilet. It wasn't, it just happened to be a bit of a stinker.
Yeah, a bit of the supersonic variety.
Well, it was a bit of a feature one, yeah. Don't get me wrong, he was quite proud of it. He did admit that he was quite proud of what he had achieved, but it was... It was hair of the dog was a different phrase, But, toilet humour, eh? Toilet humour. Can't beat it.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. But no, which is good. Like, customers. So, where we could start with customers, couldn't we?
There was that video a while ago, wasn't there, where that contractor, I think it was like a travel lodge they were building, and he got the digger.
Put the digger through, didn't he?
He drove the digger through the place and trashed the place, ended up going to jail, didn't he? Just
because
he wasn't getting paid.
Yeah, because he didn't get paid, did he? Yeah. And that's what he was...
and yet it's the tradesman who gets the rap of being sort of dodgy traders and cowboys.
It's that heater moment scenario, really, isn't it? Where, at the end of the day, you're doing your job and you expect to have some sort of, I suppose, treated decently, paid at the end of the job. Be equitable. You're always doing the work on the presumption that the customer's going to pay. Yeah. you know. And for him, it was a case that the contractor didn't pay him, did it? You know, so he took it out on what he thought was justice.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he suffered the consequences, then, didn't he? You know.
Yeah. See,
but,
that's where the law's a little bit. You could say he was wrecking places, which is technically illegal. But the thing is, there was another story very similar, but a different consequence. The contractor, and I think it's on the internet, so most people might have seen it anyway. He went and built, this builder went and built an extension on the front of the building. I'm not sure whether it was a council house or a housing association house, I don't know. But who refused to pay when he'd done it. So he contacted the local council and said, well, it's a civil matter, you've got to take up with it, which obviously he tried to. Council says, no, it's not us, police matter. And he went to the police, no, it's not our, you know, and he was going round and round like that, including the housing association or whatever it was. And he said, well, they'll take him to court, you know, basically. And he still refused to pay, you know. So the the builder notified the police and the council that he was going to knock it down, and they said, well, that's up to you. And apparently he took his digger in, flattened the lot, the complete lot, and he got away with it. Now, I'm saying that's right, irrespective of what anybody else might think or say. But the thing is, if a builder, whoever it is, doing whatever job, unless there's a justification in, for some reason, not paying the builder or the engineer, whatever they're doing, they should either pay up or suffer the consequences. So it's in the client's best order to make sure they fund the job properly. Now, if they run out of money, most builders that I know of will accept the fact that if they've run out of money, you can come to some form of financial arrangement that'll ease that problem. Otherwise, if you just sit back and do nothing, then you've got to suffer the consequences. And I've got no sympathy for anybody like that. And I'll end my bit with, all the people that owes me money through the years, and there's been numerous, you know, they're all the ones with loads of money. They're always the rich people, every time. Ordinary working people, they'll either say to you straight, we're running out, we've got to stop, which I've had on 2 or 3 jobs, but I've always gone back and we've come to some arrangement. There's never been a problem with it. But the rich ones, the ones that's got the money and the clout, and it's sometimes who they are, and it's a case of who you are and who you know, them's the ones that fails most people. Now, obviously, I can imagine that there's lots of people that will be on the podcast if they decide to look at this, you know, can relate to that. You know, I'm not saying it's all bad and everything, because it isn't. But it's the ones with money that's always the problem.
I always find that it can be the more wealthier client that can be the more difficult one to deal with when it comes to the end. Yeah. They're usually happy to push the work on and get this and that. And then when it gets to the final nitty gritty, it's that's then it becomes the problem. Yeah. You know, and then of course, you know, you work for the average working class person who does work and grafts hard for their living. It tends to be more appreciative as a general rule, and they're more grateful for whatever you've done. Yeah. You know, I'm not saying that they're all the same, because they're not, but it does tend to be the general consensus of that the way it goes. Like, you know, but yeah, so it's one of those, really, isn't it? Yeah.
I've been quite lucky through my career. I've not had too many problems, especially with private customers and homeowners. Generally, sort of, they always pay up, and I think they're appreciative of that you've gone and you've done a good job, and I've not had too many problems. I find more so, especially for my last company, insurance companies are very, very, very difficult to actually get paid from. Like you said, the larger, the richer people, they tend to want to keep their money in their own bank for as long as possible. So
I had an insurance company a good few years ago, obviously now, because I just got to the stage where I refused to work for any insurance companies. They nearly sent me bust because they just categorically refused to pay the bill. No reasons. I'd done the job. It was all done to spec and everything like that. There was builder surveyors involved in the job and everything like that. Everything was done as it should be. And anyway, they just wouldn't pay. You know, we sent numerous letters. I got letters from the bank manager to send to this company, solicitors, and still nothing. And as it happened, I happened to be taking out an insurance policy for accident sort of thing, you know, just a general insurance policy. And I just talking to the bloke in general terms, huh? And I relayed this story to him, and he said, "You leave it with me." And he wrote to the company, but he knew what to say. And we threatened to go nationwide, to go to the national newspapers and expose this company. They're still in existence, I might add. But this was before the government altered the rules for actually paying bills. You know, they a few years ago, they brought in bills that big companies and what have got to settle the accounts of individuals by, I think it was about 4 weeks to 6 weeks, something like that. They brought in some rule that everybody had to do that, you know, which was fine. But this was before that came in, so I'm going back a few years now. But anyway, he wrote the letter. He wrote the letters threatening to take the people to the national newspapers. I had my check within a fortnight, but that had drawn me right up to, you know, till I was actually having to think I'm going to have to stop it, you know, stop work, because I just couldn't, you know, because most small builders, they rely on that money for their month's work or 2 months' work, whatever. They can go maybe a little bit longer, depending. You know, they ain't always got a stash of money stuck away in the bank or under the bedclothes at night, sort of thing. You know, they got to, you know, they need that money to continue working. You know, and
as a sole trader, it's difficult, isn't it? Because
so you've got that. You know,
cash flow's king, isn't it? And cash flow is such a big thing for traders.
Yeah.
You only need one bounce or one dodgy customer or one delay, and it can scupper everything. And it can literally put your ass against the wall, and you're scramping for anything, just something that will pay. You know. And I'm not saying it's any easier for bigger companies. It's just probably a bigger problem. But cash flow is so hard especially for the smaller business and the sole trader. You know, until you get 2 or 3 on the bounce, or we've had before, 2 or 3 on the bounce, and I say you're ruined. You're just buggered, you know. And unfortunately, it's, you know, that's one of those things.
Well, anyway, apart from all this misery, let me tell you a story. Now, this is a plastering. This is a plastering story. So, you know, so you might not appreciate, or people that's looking at this from plumbing perspective wouldn't necessarily appreciate it, but it's what happens. And I name it is a ferret on steroids, right? So we was employed to do this not a loft conversion, a shop conversion on the first floor, a shoe shop. So all the equipment, all the shoes and everything downstairs, but there was like a second storeroom at the top. So anyway, the thing is, we had to put a new staircase in and strip out everything up the top, you know, all the plaster off the walls, all that sort of stuff, and you know, do a proper job with it. So we took the stairs out and we put a ladder up, you see, just to, you know, to get up and down, so we could sort of do the reception area at the bottom as well at the same time. Well, in this particular shop, there was a dolly bird. And when I mean a dolly bird, I mean a dolly bird. You know, nothing, you know. And she always wore a miniskirt. You know, this is when miniskirts first came in the late 50s, early 60s.
Tellers were still black and white back then.
Things were still black and white. And anyway, she said to my mate, she said, we were both all standing there, but she just said, "Oh, well, am I going to get up there? You know, because I mean, obviously she wasn't used to going up and down ladders. And he said, well, we'll start at the bottom of the ladder so they don't move, because it wasn't tied off or anything. Bearing in mind, health and safety was nowhere in existence at that time. So anyway, well, the thing is, what you've got to appreciate is she was only a little. When I say a little girl, I mean smaller than me, shall we put it like that. She was probably up to about a year on me, and so she's going up, holding on for dear life like this. So my mate thought, well, I better well give her a hand, you see. So he got one cheek in this hand and one cheek in that hand, and he was lifting each cheek up as she walked up the stairs like this, you see, all the way up the stairs, and got to the top of there. So off she goes to get whatever it is she wanted, and. Well, at that particular time, I was in the process of rendering these walls ready for plastering. So we got a spot stand, which is like, about that square, like that, on about this height, similar thing, piled up a muck, ready to put on the wall. And so anyway, I'd started off, I cleared one spot full, and loaded up for the second one. But at that time, my mate had decided, and quite openly, shall we say, he invited this dolly bird. If she wants to get any more shoes or anything, boxes to take down, and so she comes up, you see. And anyway, so the next minute I'm sort of facing this way. I know the spot's there, and I'm facing this way, rendering this wall. And the next minute I know, he's got her up against this spot. And the ferret has just been introduced to us. As you can imagine, this spot is going, like this. Well, I'm facing them, and I'm trying to get this muck off the spot because it's bloody going everywhere. And all he's doing is winking at me over her shoulder. He's giving her,
He's giving her a quick portion against the spot stand.
And I can tell you that bloody ferret went fast. But that's a true story, that is. It's not one made up.
No.
But that's a true story. But,
Did they get married?
Oh, no. No, there was nothing of that. No, I think
he did get himself into a bit of deep water, though, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah.
He got caught, I think, with the farmer's wife on the one.
Oh, I can tell you that one as well. That's different altogether. That would suit your thing on there. Now we were doing this buildings. We was on this building site. We were building these bungalows, and he took a fancy to this woman who was in the. I won't say where exactly, but in the one property, shall we put it like that. Anyway, her husband was, shall we say, from down south. And he sort of fancied himself as a country gent. Got all the gear, the shotgun, the dog, and all that sort of stuff, and the funny hats they wear, Anyway, the thing is this obviously this affair went on for some time. As we was a bit pissed off with it, basically, but anyway, we lived with it. Anyway, the one day, it was bloody hot, really hot, and we was down me and my other two mates was down the bottom end of the site, and so was he, so there was the four of us down there. We hears this bloke coming out shouting, and he was shouting his name, I won't say his name, but he was shouting his name. So we all looks up the site, and there he's got with this bloody shotgun walking down the site. He hadn't got the dog, but he got the shotgun. And we all looked at each other. Well, not the one who was being shouted, but the rest of us. We all started laughing. See? We all died behind the bricks because we thought any minute now he's going to let go. Well, this chap, the one that was, shall we say, being caught, was always, I'm going to do this to him, I'm going to do that, I'm going to smack him here, and of course when it come to, we thought, is he going to actually try and bloody shoot him, because we really, he got the gun and he was sort of pointing it down, Anyway, neighbour come out, and persuaded him not to, give him the gun and, put it safe, which was just as well because there was no telling, But anyway, needless to say, the next thing they do, they're having a set to up at the top of the site, and being, and all he got his head under there, and all he was doing is squeezing him like this. I thought, well, bloody hit him, you got another hand flopping, smack him one, and that's all they did. I thought, oh bloody hell, this is bloody disappointment. We was hoping for some fun, but so we was bored, they're bored, but that really happened, So sometimes, people just if they're up here ain't quite right, they've only got one thing on their mind. Who was it? Oh, one of Jethro's, wasn't it? Yeah, one of Jethro's jerk. And he was having an argument with his wife, Jethro was. And his wife said to him, Jethro, man's got two things. He's got a dick and he's got a brain. But unfortunately, when the Lord made him, he didn't give enough blood to go around both at the same time. And I think that would be very apt. But watch out for dodgy architects.
Yeah.
Because, when I say dodgy, they're not dodgy in the strict sense of the word, but they are just
not dodgy.
Not that sort of dodgy.
Not you are dodgy.
But they lack vision.
Lack sense of humour.
No sense of humour. No. Well, it's a bit like the police when you try to pull their leg. Oh, shall we tell them about that?
You could tell about that, yeah. Police, yeah. No sense of humour, police have.
No sense of humour.
None at all.
No. I was thinking of when we frequented the cop shop about when you decided to...
that's going back to dodgy customer again.
Oh yeah, the dodgy customer, yeah. But the important thing about that is the way the police reacted to us.
Oh yeah,
based on that, we were the
bad guys.
They was completely out of. They was enforcing a law that had just been brought in about inciting people to riot, and it's on the internet, or it was on the telly news and that, where the law had just been changed. It's only quite recent, in a manner of speaking, not years and years ago, but anyway, but recent enough. And it had just been introduced, and because you'd wanted to name and shame this one client who owed us all this money.
Yeah, he owed us a lot of money, and started debating about and trying to find every angle, basically, not to pay it.
Yeah.
Even though that we'd been through the job, well, I'd been through my part of the job with him at least 2 or 3 times at the end for completion, and asked him, "Is everything all right?" And we went over everything again, and he never raised one thing. No. Well, there wasn't any issues whatsoever. Everything was great. Thanks for the work. Give us your invoice. We'll pay you next week. Never come.
No.
Never come. And that was the same because he was offering, going back to the principle of of while you're here, can you do this? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Can you do this? Yeah, no worries. We'll do that. So you do it, and then obviously when you get to it, it's like, just drops off the face of the planet, doesn't want to talk to you, speak to you, answer you, won't answer the door, all the usual, have nothing to do with your situation, So I started getting a little bit peed off. So I basically put a post out of what had happened to warn other tradesmen, basically. I didn't name him. I did imply where he lived, which didn't rule it down that much because there was only one house on the road. So I did sort of inadvertently point the finger to where he was. But I just basically put a post out, sort of just saying, other tradesmen in the area, please be wary. Don't work for this particular person, as he will ask you to do extras and not pay for it. Since obviously that happened, we did find out that we weren't the first ones to be taken for a ride. He had a bit of a pattern, and he'd been doing it quite often. So unfortunately, it wasn't a one-off for him. It was a sort of a serial rogue, should we say. But me being me, I posted it anyway, put it out there. It got spread quite quickly, as it would do. And the next thing I know, I got the police on my doorstep, wanting to take me into custody. So I said, well, I'm not coming at the minute, but I'll voluntarily come in tomorrow. And they were like, well, okay, because we're not arresting you, so we can't sort of force you, but you got to come down, otherwise we will sort of take the next step, should we say? Yeah. And so I phoned Alan up. I said, do you want to come down as a witness with me? So I've got some form of witness. Yeah. Because I didn't know what was going to happen. No, well, not did I. And basically, because people have jumped on the bandwagon, and this is going back to sort of the banter really within the building industry. You've got the usual ones. Pour some concrete down his stop tap. Expanding foam in the flue, super glue in the door lock, break his legs, popped up a couple of times. A couple of offers as well from people, break his legs. And it was the break at the legs part that they didn't find too amusing. No, I didn't have any control of that. So yes, so we
did say that.
We did say that at the time. So we did say, when we went down, and he says, obviously, do you know what this is about? And we went, no, not really. And it's usually, what do you think? Do you think I'm stupid or something? The typical Goppers attitude of, that. And we basically got it down that this particular client had put an official complaint into us, basically, that they now lived in fear, which was the biggest pile of shit you'd ever heard. Now lived in fear. They couldn't dare leave the house. Blah blah, mental health, gonna sue, all the usual utter bollocks, and we sort of sniggered and laughed, which sort of put a bit of fuel on the fire for the copper really. And he came across from it, oh, you think it's funny, do you? And we were like, well, actually, yeah, we do, I said, all I've done is warned other people about what he's like. I said, I haven't slagged him off. I haven't done anything else. I said, what other people have put on there, that's for other people. And he's going, oh, well, you think it's funny if somebody posted they're going to break your legs. I said, well, to be fair, I said, at the end of the day, it's banter. This is what builders do. Yeah. They vent through this type of thing. Yeah. Doesn't mean that anything's ever going to happen. Just their way of venting it, and it went on for a bit. Then he tried, blagging us the law, and if you don't take it down, they're going to sue you, and blah blah blah. But the downside to it was he got that much money, the client, and he was obviously of status, should we say, that you had to sort of take it that it was a possibility that he would do it just out of pure spite, whether it was legitimate or not. And basically, they were trying to threaten that it was going to be slander at the end of the day, but
that wasn't the most serious aspect of this encounter.
But the argument for it was there was nothing slanderous about it. We hadn't named him. We hadn't said he was this or this. We just put a broad spectrum of tradesmen don't work for this bloke. He won't pay you for the work.
That's the thing, though. All you've done is kind of I've not even named him, reviewed a customer.
Yeah.
So you ended up in the police for that. Yeah. But if he would have gone the other way around and gone, right, I'm going to leave a review on your website and say that you're shocking, terrible, don't use this tradesman, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
And that's the flip side to the rogue customer, to the rogue trader. Rogue traders get named and shamed and get taken to court or whatever. And don't get me wrong, some of them that I've seen, absolutely, they need to be, But on the flip side,
these days, though, it's harder for a tradesman to be, I guess, a cowboy, because if you actually put yourself out there, you got a website, you do the reviews and stuff like that, and it's easy for people to tell the world that you are.
But it's difficult then, because for genuine businesses that have been established for a while, as the old phrase is, it takes years to build a reputation and a day to destroy it. Yeah. And you only need that one customer And all right, it might be 1 in a million that you don't get on with, or for whatever reason, something's not gone right. And you've just gone, right, we're going to part ways. And you part ways academically, or really whatever you pronounce it. But then they've gone, oh, fuck you, pal. Keyboard warriors come out.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's away, like, and he's, you know.
I'd say people are more sort of, if you've got loads and loads of 5-star reviews and there's 50 5-star reviews and there's one
you got
1-star review, you're like, yeah,
People are
but
more,
you can't make everyone happy. Some people
can't.
just
You can't please everybody.
it's going to happen at some point. Someone's going to leave you a bad review.
It will do.
But you look over the, you
But it's
look
just
over
the
the
fact
numbers,
that,
don't you?
it's just the fact that it's so easy for the consumer, to slate
Which
the trader than the other way
isn't
around.
particularly a bad thing.
No.
But when you flip it on the other side, like you said,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there that don't pay the tradesmen, and there's no
always two
repercussions
sides
for
to
them.
the story. And I totally get it that, some tradesmen are shockingly bad. Even ones that think they're good are shockingly bad. And I've had many a plasterer who said that they can plaster,
Oh, yeah.
and they're bloody awful.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, I've been doing this for 20, 30 years. Oh, I know what I'm doing. And you look and you're like, bloody hell, that's crap. And then you go, like, I never forget, I went to a job for a landlord, and we had this exactly the same thing. She said, can you come and redo this bathroom for me? It was I think it was a HMO property. And straight away I knew it wasn't going to happen, because I know when it comes to landlords, they don't like to spend money. It's across the board. As a general rule, they don't like spending money.
When every now and then that actually looks after.
Yeah.
But
And so she was a lady, turned up in her very nice Maserati as it come brum, 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 up to the parking space. I thought, oh, that's nice. Car, that is the car. And she got out, very nice lady, quite young, I'd have probably said. And I thought, well, I'm quite sure how this is going to go. So got into the bathroom, and it was pretty crap. And she'd asked about renovating it. And I said, yeah, that's fine. What would you like me to do? She said, oh, right, well, can you just stick some splash wall panel around the bath? I said, yeah, that's no problem. So we're going to have to there's me going through the process. So we're going to have to take the tiles off, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, don't worry, we could have an issue with the wall, so we might have a problem to deal with the plaster work there. And she's like, oh, no, just stick it to the tiles. And I went, oh, no, I'm not doing that. I said, I don't work like that. It's either done right or it's not done. And I said, but looking at it, you've already got tiles stuck to tiles already, So I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be my luck. I stick the panel on the wall and everything will fall off. So I sort of like snubbed it, and she was like, oh, right, sort of price what you want, type of attitude. And I thought, well, this is a non-starter, but go for the process. So, of course, as I've gone in, I've seen that it's been freshly plastered, which is compared to plastering. So, me being me, and with a lot of tradesmen, whenever there's a freshly plastered wall, you can't help it. It's like an itch. And you go like that, and you go, oh, and that's smooth. And you can't, freshly plastered wall, and you just walk in, you always put your hand across the wall. Yeah. Don't do it in front of the plaster, because they'll go crazy. But you always do it, see how nice smooth it is. Well, this was like sandpaper, these walls. And I was like, oh, right, and do you want me to replaster everything for you? She said, oh, no, I've just had it plastered. I went, have you? Oh, right. And I thought, well, do I say anything, or do I just keep stum? And a conversation went on, and she said, well, can you decorate? I said, okay, all right, we'll decorate. So what standard of decorating do you want? Do you want me just to put a bit of paint on the walls, or do you want me to sand them up and fill all the imperfections? Where do we draw the line? And she says, well, I've just had it freshly plastered, so you should be able to just paint it. And I went, well, I said, are you joking? She said, well, no. I said, have you actually looked at the plastering? She goes, well, he was a professional plasterer. He'd been doing it for years. I said, oh, right. I said, just out of curiosity, how much did it cost you? Oh, I paid him £100. There you go then. I said, and that's your problem. Yeah. I said, you've paid the cheapest person that's come in, haven't you? And I went, well, that's what you've got. So he basically, not only was the plastering shockingly bad, but he hadn't taken anything off the walls at all. So the radiator was still on, and he basically just gone round it, and of course you could see it. there was switches, there was sockets, and the best one was he got a mirror on the wall, 4 screws, and it was only a mirror glass, it wasn't a cabinet or anything like that, and he skimmed it in. And to be fair, that was the best part of his job. He'd done a hell of a job getting it feathering it into the mirror, but instead of just taking the 4 screws off the wall, just bloody plastered around it. And I was just like, you know, what on earth is, what's the mentality like? So straight away I was like, well, this job's not going to be a winner, is it? You know.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing because you go in there, you're the last tradesman in there.
Yeah.
When they finish his shocking, it's not the guy before you.
That's
it's
the
you.
thing, like, you know, he might not have even had a sign written van. He could have probably biked there for all I know. But the chances are, it's your vehicle that's outside that's fully sign written. Like you say, you're the last one in, and then all of a sudden it's your name associated to that job because they'll be like, oh, so-and-so, oh, that bloody job was bloody shit. Like, oh, yeah, I saw his van out there, regardless if you've done the work or not. Straight away you're associated to that, like, you know. So, I do appreciate, you know, finding good tradesmen for people is difficult sometimes.
Difficult. But I just want to add a little bit. It's a bit in the wrong place, I know, but it's concerning the police.
Oh, we'll go back to the police.
Yeah,
Sorry, we went off par, didn't we?
We do need to make this common because the police can be helpful at times and they can be a complete arsehole. And this time they was a complete arsehole. They threatened us, well, Stuart more than me, but they threatened him with arresting him or something with incitement to riot if he didn't take the podcast down. Now, the thing is, that like I say, that law had only come in recently when we was contacted. I didn't know nothing of that law at the time. I mean, now, if I was in that same position, the police would have a mouthful from me, and I wouldn't let them go from it. Just because they're there for a reason, which is rightly so. They're there to make sure that we, or the general public, adheres to the law. But when they overstepped the mark, which they did in this instance, but I was unaware. If I'd have known that part of the new law at that time and what it entailed, that copper would have had a mouthful. If we'd have had a solicitor or somebody that with us, then I'm sure
it would have been a problem, wouldn't it?
It wouldn't have been a problem because but we was unaware of what was going to be said and offered. But that's the reason why the podcast come down, you know. So the thing is just because a copper is saying something,
don't mean it's right.
You know, and you know, you find this quite often. Some coppers, not all, because I am a supporter of the police in broad principles, but I will stand up for anything that's rubbish that comes in. It don't matter what direction it comes from. You know, they've got to do the job. We all know that, but they've got to do it properly and administer in a sensible way new laws that come into force. So,
yeah, because once we spoke to the solicitor, they were just turning around and went, or when I spoke to them, they just turned around, we can't do that. Yeah. We can't make you do any of that, what you've had to do. You have not broken any laws.
Yeah.
And basically, all it was is, and we said this to the policeman at the time, we said, if this was anybody else, not this particular person, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he looked at us, and he knew exactly what we meant.
He did, yeah.
He didn't acknowledge it. He didn't go, yes, I know. But you could tell by his face, he knew exactly what you meant. Yeah. And that's all it was, because the bloke had got position and money.
And he got a lot of contacts.
And he got a lot of contacts, and that's all it was. You know, it was and I said to him, and we said to him, and I said to the copper, I said, the only crime that's being committed here is I've done set amount of work and I ain't been paid for it. Yeah. I said, and not only that, I said, but as far as I'm aware, if there's an issue, we're allowed to go back and put it right. I said, and that hasn't changed. It's been like that for years. He
refused to let us back on side, didn't he?
And he refused to let us back in to sort out the so-called problems that weren't there.
He didn't give us a list of problems. He just said, I'm not
just refused to
pay.
You know.
So
yeah, it's difficult. But on the flip side to it, well, there's no flip side to that. Just as a mention, the watch out for the people who know how to play the game.
Oh yeah.
So there's people out there that will run deliberately run outstanding amounts up with work to the volume that if you countersue or they countersue. So if you, for example, say it's £5,000, they owe you £5,000, they won't pay it, won't let you back in to solve the problem. Obviously, you've got to go through the process, take them to court to go for your money. Okay? If you then win that claim, which is great, they can then, apparently they have the right then to countersue you for whatever rubbish they want to do. I think this particular one was mental health, which is, I think a get out of clause for a lot of things, instead of, people that do suffer with it. And then they countersue you. And then when you speak to the legal system, say, okay, once you get countersued, you have to put up a legal, don't quote me on this, so I might be slightly wrong now. You have to put up a legal defence, okay? With that legal defence will cost a starting amount, regardless. It's going to cost, and that's the starting amount. And usually that starting amount is the same cost as what they owe you.
Yeah.
So you end up actually going, what do you do?
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point? And this is the failings within the system.
Yeah.
But not everybody knows. But the people that know how to play the system know how to do it. And I've heard this a few times with other trades actually experience the same situation. So it could be 10 grand. They win the battle and then they're countersued by the person who's got the money. And then it ends up costing them 10 grand to start with to put a legal defence. And that's the starting point. So if it goes past that point and they end up having to go legitimately to court and then have to get a barrister involved, their cost goes up. So all they're doing is losing. The tradesman loses at the end of the day. Yeah. All right, the customer, you could argue and say, well, it's probably they're spending some money as well, so they're technically losing. But usually with that type of person, they got the money to lose. That's, unfortunately, that's the way it happens. Yeah. It's the way it's sounding like you're picking on a particular type of person. That generally is what happens. So people, you got to be careful. And unfortunately, you don't always know till it's too late. But yeah, if not, break the legs.
Break the legs.
But just make sure you don't get caught.
Well, that's it, yeah.
Or you're on holiday when it happens, okay? So top tips. Quick top tip.
Top tips.
Top tip for you was going to be what?
Well,
make sure you get a contract involved.
Builders, yes. Always, you can download these things off the internet. So, which is like a list of contract preferences of what you want the builder to do. So I would always advise now clients to have one of these and list the jobs that's got to be done, signed and passed over to the builder, and that way you've got a copy of what needs to be done. And if there's any extras to it, you have you can print off a couple of copies of it for extras that's agreed. That way, there's less chance of confrontation towards the end. So if
the thing is that if you ever go to court, it's in your favour. Then you've got something
a
in
legal
black contract tied in. So. Yeah. Which is good.
Because it's not always easy for the builder who's actually doing the job, depending on the size of the company. Yeah. If you're a small builder, you ain't stuck in the office as a rule, you're actually working on site. So they list all these things they want, or they go, can you do this while you're here? I want that wall plastered now, can you do that? And of course, 9 times out of 10, the builder will say, yes, of course we can. They might make a note of it, but unless you've got something in black and white, officially, not just scribbled on a piece of paper, but officially with a cost to it, passed over to the customer every time they make those requests, you're forever passing pieces of paper over. So it needs to be on a formal contract principle. That way, it safeguards the.
Well, it safeguards both of you.
But it does, yes.
The contractor and the customer.
Yeah.
So it works both in both ways. But
yes, it works in both ways.
They're available on the Tinterweb.
But the thing is, a lot of clients don't do that.
No.
I've never had that. I've always been asked to do extra bits and pieces. Sometimes it's been fine. Other times I've come unstuck with it because they just don't want to pay. But as a general rule, most clients are reasonable people. But you just occasionally get the odd one or two that makes life think, is it worth it all?
Yeah.
But I'd still do the same job anyway, because it's in my blood. So, but
Yeah. So top tip for you guys.
I'll say for consumers, get at least 3 quotes and don't always go for the cheapest one. Check companies' reviews, read what other people say about them, and generally by talking to them, unless they're sort of window salesmen, you get a good feel about some people, and
People buy off people.
Exactly, yeah. Since when's the cheapest job, cheapest anything been the best? It just hasn't.
Well, that is it.
So
buy cheap, buy twice, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That
exactly.
usually works out the way.
Yeah.
But but for me, my top tip: watch the next podcast. if you could take it. But no, my top tip would be for a customer, be able to be flexible. I would say, not every job goes to plan, and sometimes both parties need to be a bit flexible to achieve what you need at the end of the day.
yeah.
I'll think of some better top tips for next time. But yeah, maybe.
Yeah, work with your tradesmen rather than against them.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Work with the tradesmen again instead of against them. They're there for you.
Ask loads of questions. Why are you doing this? And
Not too many questions. not like the stalker.
No, don't do any
not as
stuff.
much as that, but no.
Right, boy, what are you doing down there?
I find customers though, if you explain why you're doing certain things, why the pipework has to be that way, and they understand why you're doing it, then they're a lot happier at the end of the job.
Well, to be fair, that can be as good a thing as anything, because some people like that. They just some don't want to know anything, just want to let you get on with it, unless they know they're there, and others, they like to know what you're doing and how you're doing, and sometimes it's good to talk to them about it anyway.
Especially if there's options, right? We can do this way, or we can do it that way. Now, these are the pros and cons. Which way do you want it done? I want to do it this way. Okay, then. Well, you've decided that, not me.
Yeah.
So there's no surprises at the end of the job.
No, well, that's it. Yeah. Get in the contract. Make sure you sign that contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, cool. Welcome to challenge time for the fastest driver in the West. We're here in TM land. Cue the music.
You didn't tell me there was going to be Indians in this.
There's some Indians floating around. Unfortunately, we haven't got any cowboy hats this time, but we'll get into that for the next time we're here. So we're going to do the driving challenge. We've all got our own impact drivers. These are ones that we actually use on the day. These aren't brand new. I've had mine for probably about 9 years. Gaz's had his about the same. Alan, I think Noah brought Alan's in on the ark. But hey-oh.
But it's good.
But it's good. So Milwaukee against Makita, two of the biggest brands on the market. Let's see what we can do. We're going to do the standard driver challenge with the screws into the timber. You may have already seen it, but this has got a twist. So we're going to got a lovely piece of pine here, bit of 7B2 pine.
A lovely piece of oak.
No, lovely piece of pine. Okay, we're going to clamp him up, and we're going to start our challenge. There we go, nice and solid. Beautiful piece of pine this is. Can't beat it, buy it anywhere. Piece of pine. Screws are in. What?
What's this bloody sign on the front of this?
What sign?
Well, what's this say here?
What?
It says, I identify it as a piece of oak.
Get on,
You told
bloody oak.
It's
pine.
You told us earlier it was going to be a piece of oak.
No, it's pine. Look,
I know it's pine.
it looks like pine.
But it
smells like pine. It's bloody pine.
No, it's shit.
It's no, it's not.
No, it ain't.
Bloody oak.
Talking of shit, I think you've got.
Bloody oak. It's pine. Right.
I told him years
Challenge time.
I told him years ago he got shit for brains. That's why he left me and went to be a
Bloody
plumber.
living wood. I don't know. Right. Guns at the ready. Quickest trigger finger wins. This is for the golden trophy that I haven't made yet, but we'll have it by the end. All right. Everybody, start your positions. Are we inserted? Dry incision, everybody good?
Yeah.
Very good.
Ready? Izzy?
3,
Count us down.
3, 2, 1.
I cocked it all up. Winner!
I think you won that.
I think I did.
Only just though.
I drove mine straight in as well.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, if you're watching, it's not your drill, it's user error. I apologise. Just to prove it does work. There we go. Always buy Milwaukee, don't buy Makita.
No, Makita's good.
Well done, Gaz. Wow, and the winning time for Gaz, 3.73 seconds. What a champion! What a champion! Well done, that man.
Yeah.
We will put Gaz at the top of the leaderboard at 3.73 seconds for that lovely gold trophy that I haven't quite made yet. Hope everybody enjoyed that challenge. It was a bit of fun for us to do. We will repeat in the challenge as hopefully the podcast series will extend. We have got plans for some other challenges as well, hopefully a bit more humour. But all in all, I would like to thank everybody for watching and spending the time to watch this. This is all brand new for us. We will be changing guests as we rotate through the casts. Maybe even getting some back if they want to come back. We'll see. Yeah, this is Builders Banter, sponsored by me, SM Home Improvements and Maintenance. And please check us out on Facebook, website. Obviously, there is a serious side to us. You know, we are out for work as well. So if you do need any bathrooms, kitchens, boilers, etc. Fitted, drop us a message and we'll get in contact. Just want to say a big thank you to my co-host for today, Gaz from FixSpot. Thank you very much. And Alan from Alan. So please stay.
Yeah. Well, I'm not advertising my brand today. So.
Do whatever you got to do. Tick the ticks, click the clicks, like it. Please don't send me too many negative comments. And that'll be great. And a big thanks to everybody. See you again next time. Thanks. Bye.
What is he doing? He's been standing like that for days. I mean, what the hell is he trying to do? Oi! What are you doing?
Go away.
Hey?
Go away.
Yeah, but you've been here for days. What are you doing, man?
I'm gonna have an OBE. So go away.
An OBE?
That's what I'm doing here. Now go away.
How do you expect to get OBE?
It said in the paper, you get an OBE if you're outstanding in your field. And that's what I'm doing.
I can see it now. Arise, Sir Twat.
That's all. And I hope your next turd is a hedgehog.